Join News today, and I'm Francisca Kakra-Forson. The flag bearer of the opposition New Patriotic Party, Nana Akufo-Addo, has taken his Arise and Build tour to the Upper West region. The tour is to garner grassroots support for the party ahead of the 2016 general elections. Nana Addo is expected to address party supporters and other groups. Correspondent Rafiq Salam joins us with more on the telephone line. Good afternoon to you, Rafiq. So what has Nana Addo been up to? Has he arrived yet?
Nana Addo arrived in the Upper West region last night, and then to a rousing welcome here in the Upper West region. But this morning, he first had an interview with the local in the region Upper West, where he spoke to the people. Basically, he's been talking about the need to have a new voters register. He talked about what yesterday at the conference, and then he said that the need to have a new voters register is not about MP winning the election. It's to have a credible voters register who will not be disputed at the end of the day when elections are. And so, right now, Nana Addo is talking to party people. He's talking to about 11 constituencies in the Upper West region, and we are currently at West Senior High Technical School.
Rafi, can you take us through his itinerary in the region?
Can I have got you well?
Kindly let us get an idea of where he'll be moving on to from where he is.
From the Upper West region, he will be moving to the Upper East region tomorrow. The tour is a 3-day tour in the Upper West region. So, today, from after this meeting, with the party candidate who lost he will be moving on to become identifiable. The regional chief imam, the Yerana, the Sindamba, and then even the Catholic bishop of His Lordship, Dr. Paul Edmund. And so tomorrow, he will, with that, and in the afternoon, to leave for the Upper East region.
And Rafiq, we know the party has been through a lot of trouble, and how are supporters reacting to Nana Addo's trip to your region?
At least the Upper West region is solidly behind Nana Akufo-Addo, even though there are pockets of people who are not all that in tune with the way things are going. And so this when Nana Addo was asked at Ready Upper West to I said that these are internal matters, and Akuchi doesn't want to deal with all radio, and currently moving on. They are doing everything to solve it. In the next 2 days, it will be solved.
Okay, that's Rafiq Salam from the Upper West region, our correspondent, giving us the details of Nana Akufo-Addo's trip there. We'll stay with the NPP because the minority in parliament says the country's educational sector is heading towards a collapse due to government's lack of commitment to implement policies and programs it says should be happening. According to the minority spokesperson on education, Professor Dominic Phoebe, non-payment of monies to statutory or through statutory funds results in low enrollment, strikes and inadequate provision of educational materials, and these are testimony of government's lack of interest in the sector. My colleague Elton John Brobe was at the news conference and joins us via the phone. Elton, good afternoon to you. What's the minority making? Why are they making these claims?
Well, Francisca, according to them, the major source for funding educational sector, according to them, is seriously depleted and a starve of statutory funds and weakened with needs. They are saying that Get Fund is denied its statutory funds without regard to the act that established it. And as usual, according to them, the 2015 allocation to Get Fund is in arrears. And they are saying that senior high school students' subsidy for feeding are always in arrears for months, and heads of public senior high schools often have to threaten to close down schools before portions of arrears are released to them. And they've also spoken about the fact that in 2010 and 2011, government budgeted 35.5 million Ghana cedis and 36 million Ghana cedis for capitation grants and subsidy for basic education examination, respectively, but released just 28.7 million, representing a shortfall of 19.2%, respectively. And this, according to them, resulted in the poor not able. And then they've also made mention of the fact that the heads of public senior high schools often have to resort to crisis management to contain agitations, either by students over poor quality of food or distressed teachers who themselves have to look elsewhere to supplement their income, all of which tend to lower the morale of both teachers and students and hence negatively impact on the quality of education. All of this, they've drawn corruption to what is happening in the educational sector. They provided a table about the fees being charged at the public university. And they are saying that these astronomical increases in the cost of accessing education is unrealistic to income levels of Ghanaians. And they've drawn a knowledge saying that with a minimum wage of 7 Ghana cedis a day and an average national income of about 2,500 Ghana cedis per person per year, the average working person with a family of 3 can hardly access education for even one of their children in comfort. And they're saying that no wonder most people these days are resorting to illegitimate means to make ends meet. And they're saying that bribery and corruption are rampant and has become the order of the day, and the slogan, the end justify the means, has become the catchphrase. And they've also presented litany of promises made by government, the NDC government in 2012, and they have the view that these have not been fulfilled. For instance, they're talking about the elimination of the remaining 60% of identified schools under trees and provision of decent facilities for all rural schools. And today, according to the much hype talked about, the elimination of schools under trees has got lost in the system. And the government also promised 100% access to all children of school-going age in compliance with the constitutional requirement of FQ, which percentage have not achieved as a nation. And so these are some of the things that they've been talking about. They think that government attention to the sector has dwindled, resulting in a near collapse of the educational sector.
Okay, thank you very much, Elton John Brobe, from the news conference by the minority. We are trying to reach the Deputy Education Minister, Samuel Okuja, to react to these allegations and claims by the minority. As and when we get him, we'll let you have that. But we'll move on to other stories. And Zanetot Rollins, one of the candidates vying for the NDC primaries in the Korle Klottey constituency, says she will lend her support to whoever emerges winner if she fails to obtain victory. The daughter of former President Rollins, speaking to our Doom News reporter Prince Owusu Asiedu, said her decision to contest is in response to the community's request.
I would like to find out from you, why are you contesting the seat for Korle Klottey?
Because I feel the strong conviction that in doing so I could actually make a huge difference, because we've had a few projects where we've worked with the community and we've had a very positive response in working with the community, you know, bringing people's desire and their enthusiasm up again. And it's been very encouraging. There are a lot of issues, but the solutions are also not out of reach. And having consulted, you know, many people, especially within the community, and having gained their support, I made the decision to go ahead.
Okay. Why wouldn't you, support the current MP with your ideas, support?
Yeah, I'm getting a few responses in the background. I think at this point, when you have a democracy, there's always an option for other people to take advantage of the choice of the people. If in going for the election, the people make a choice, we respect their choice. So I think that's the way we'll go with it.
In case you go for primaries and you lose, would you still support, the party or the MP to win the 2016 election?
At the end of the day, the community is what matters. The welfare of the community is paramount. So provided that the people who are in charge are willing to do what they have to do for the community, I will give my full support.
Pressure group Let My Vote Count is pushing ahead with its plan to picket at the premises of the Electoral Commission on Wednesday to press home their demand for a new voters register. Despite concerns raised by the police over the final destination of the demonstration, convener of the group, David Atante, says the activities of the pressure group will not endanger the officers of the Electoral Commission. He spoke to Joy News after the group met the Accra Region Police Command on Monday afternoon.
Our position still remains very conclusive. We are determined that the Public Order Act requires that we notify the police, which we have done way back 1st of September. So as it stands now, nothing that stops us from really embarking on the picketing the EC on the 16th of September, come Wednesday, as we have planned. The final converging point, that is the EC's enclave, the police raised issues of security concern as far as the final destination or convergence point is concerned. But we have managed to put our case through to establish the fact that we are still resolute. This is not where the president resides. The issue of security, from our perspective, doesn't come in at all. So we are still very consistent with our very letter we sent to them from the day one, and we are resolute and we are firm. The essence of the activity is to drum home the legitimate demand and concern for a new voters register. You would agree with me, this issue has lingered on over a while now. We are saying that as citizens, in spite of the fact that the political parties have been engaged by the Electoral Commission, we reserve the right to embark on such a peaceful public activity or event. And that is our constitutional right, which we are not ready to, let go. We are demanding a brand new voters register as a means to consolidate and to strengthen and deepen our democracy we have started. The register is bloated. It's a dangerous document with which I can't guarantee the success of future elections. It is an issue of national concern and international admiration. So, as it stands now, this is the most sensitive and topical issue. The whole world is looking at us. Are we going to listen to the voice of wisdom? Election management body, Electoral Commission of Ghana, must sit up and listen to wisdom. A new voters register is the way to go.
The Asantehene Otumfuo II is calling for an error-free voters register for next year's general elections. Speaking at the annual bar conference in Kumasi, he suggested that all loopholes must be plugged and lessons learned from previous elections must be put to good use.
Structure, but there's still a lot to catch up on. Usually silent over contentious issues concerning preparations for the next presidential and general elections. Mr. President, I suggest to you, instead of putting it to you, that the forthcoming elections could be the most challenging in our constitutional development. After the landmark legal tussle which followed the last elections, the world will expect that all the lessons have been learned, all the loopholes have been identified, and we should therefore have a reasonably error-free, truly free and fair poll. For good measure, this will be the first election since the restoration of democracy to be conducted under a new electoral commission.
You're watching Joy News Today with me, Francisca Kakrafos, and let's take a quick break right now. Welcome back to Joy News Today. Now, World Vision Ghana says it will partner health and educational institutions in providing sanitary facilities as a means of reducing improper sanitation-related deaths, especially among children. National Director Hannett Charles said this at a stakeholders dialogue on the Sustainable Development Goals for improved sanitation in Ghana.
In pursuing our vision for every child, life in all its fullness, World Vision Ghana has identified improved sanitation as fundamental for promoting maternal and child health and the realization of the well-being of children. It is in this light that we launched the Improve Sanitation Now campaign in 2014 to work with other partners and stakeholders in the sector to address the sanitation challenges in Ghana. Since launching the campaign, we have entered into various strategic partnerships with like-minded organizations that possess the required requisite capacity and experience and the willingness to work together to increase access to sanitation. We remain committed to forging more of such strategic partnership with the government, development partners, the NGOs and civil society, including the private sector. Madam Chair, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the sanitation challenge confronting our country can no more be tackled with a business as usual attitude.
Hawkers and traders are gradually invading the space under the Kwame Nkrumah Circle interchange project in Accra. This is in spite of the risk posed by vehicular movements and the construction project itself. My colleague Emmanuel has this report.
Construction oh, minim say hu de na so manya ne sa enye yesa me ko akira edwane nye ti ese me disi nipa wa kai ba me dimrika baby amu obi ama.
This is Doris. She's been telling me that she is actually selling pie here. She understands the risk involved in plying her trade around the interchange, which is currently underway as far as construction is concerned. But she says she has no choice. If she does move out, it means that she's not likely to get her money for the day to be able to feed her family. Let's speak to the madam here. She is selling pawpaw and pineapple. Mama, good morning. Bridge where I would idea was. And you, also, children edited him. Nancy, Miss Rowe, BBC Sia, or by anything. Sister, but be a best, no show them cry to me sick. Zainab is selling pawpaw and pineapple here. She also admits that yes, plying her trade here is risky, but she has no choice because she's into the sale of foodstuff, and these things are perishable. Okay, where were you operating before coming to this space?
Yeah, well, first I was there, but by now, when they start this work, there is no work, so I just want to stay here and waiting for passenger. That's it.
So after you moved from your old place to this new place, what has changed in your operation?
The things changed. It's changed. I didn't get anything. When I come this morning, first when I start, I can get 100 Ghana or 70 Ghana. But now when they start this work, where water come pick people for here, so when I come here, I didn't get any money.
You suck them and you come back. You stuck there, then you come back. So that's why, yeah.
Obviously, that strategy is not working because you can't be here 24/7.
Oh, you are here for 24 hours. You come see the posts.
But I have been here quite some time now. I haven't seen any of you around. I've been at the back there and I've interacted with some people, and they seem to be busy doing their business. And I am now seeing. So the moment it means that you could leave any moment.
Okay. We come early. We go patrol. Someone shall go patrol. So small time there, you come change. And other people go Accra. Nice.
What do you do here?
Yeah, business. No, I dey sell food for you one.
So have you met the tax force before?
Yeah, I dey pay for you. Tax force. This are by people see the wall for you.
You pay what do you pay to who?
No, people they come, they collect 2 cedi every day, 1 cedi.
Why are you giving them the money?
That they sell for you, so come and say everybody pay. You know, pay the cycle for you.
So when you pay, they don't sack you?
Yeah, pay, I know the cycle.
Master, good morning. Master, good morning. What is his offense? What has he done?
Oh, Charlie, me no friend. Oh, Charlie, me no friend.
Some lawyers at the Ghana Bar Association conference have blamed government for exposing judges to corruption. Speaking on the sidelines of the conference, lawyer Bright Akwete intimated that allowing judges to live in the midst of people opens them up for corruption. Others are, however, impressed with the steps taken so far in dealing with the alleged corruption, and that should assure the international community.
I think that the steps that have been taken so far should reassure international communities that we are not shielding or we are irresponsible or oblivious of the dangers and then the seriousness of the matter. So as far as I'm concerned, we are all cooperating to have this matter resolved. And I think that it is the best way to go now as things stands now.
If you, under some false law, and some pretense, misinterpret the law on public lands, and you sell off all the government bungalows which were inhabited by judges and which insulated judges from these things in society, from proximity society on the social level, and you give it to private individuals, and you tell the judges that now you can go and rent apartments or places in the society. So you have judges living in the middle of Medina, Adenta, Kolebu, Mamprobi, Kaswa. You open them up to corruption. You open them up to influences in society. One of them says that when there's shortage of water, he always had water or has water, and therefore he has to open his gates to the general public for them to come and fetch water in his house. What are you doing? You're inviting people to become party with you. How are you? Let's go to the judge's house for a bottle of beer. Or they come, they're waiting for their children to fetch water. They say, oh, can we sit and have a chat? Have some bottle of beer here. You open them up to influences. So government is a part.
So you heard the views of one lawyer. Meanwhile, former President John Agyekum Kufuor has described as abominable the recent expose of massive bribery and corruption in the judiciary by Anas Aremiao Anas. Former President Kufuor therefore charged the judiciary to take decisive measures to deal with the judges caught in the disgraceful scandal.
If we are to be candid to ourselves, we should all admit that the canker has eaten deep and wide into the social fabric of our society and at all levels of society. Removing the scab on a sore should be the first act. That's exposure for treating this corruption that has bedeviled our society and undermined its standing in the Committee of Nations. Our institutions for checking corruption do not seem to be working, and it has had to take the spearheading by a single individual to unearth such a massive scale of corruption.
The Chief Justice, Georgina Theodora Wood, addressing the conference, said judicial corruption erodes public confidence and must be dealt with because of its negative impact on economic growth. She assured that the rule of law will be upheld.
The various alleged acts of gross misconduct, we will ensure that the rule of law, with all the constitutional guarantees and safeguards afforded to all persons accused of stated misconduct, are fully respected. We cannot do otherwise. We are a justice institution birthed in the principles of fair trial and the natural justice. Corruption, particularly judicial corruption, erodes public confidence and, from a development perspective, negatively impacts economic growth. How I pray that we will have a clear understanding of the full-blown effects of a corrupt legal system, so that for love of God and country, the bench and the bar will join hands and lead to confront and challenge this canker within the judicial establishment. This is what makes events of the last 2 weeks particularly disturbing.
The Asantehene Otumfuo Saitutu II assured the international community that the commitment of Ghana to democracy is irreversible and Ghana will not allow any of its institutions to wither.
Here we are today, struck down by the tsunami of scandal that threatens to wash away the integrity of the entire judicial arm of government. I speak with the pain of a nation betrayed and the anguish of a people ravaged, whose faith in their nation's most cherished institutions now lie in a crushed earth. The ultimate goodness of our countrymen, faith in our capacity to rise from the ashes of despair. For a start, the world can be assured that the commitment of the nation to democracy is irreversible. That the commitment, however, will be hollow without a robust, credible judicial arm. So there's no way that this nation is going to allow the judiciary, the judicial arm of government, or any of its institutions to wither away. Whatever it takes, however long it takes, all of us, chiefs and people, young and old, will rally together to salvage the integrity of the judiciary.
Coming up next is the latest in business. It's now time for some entertainment news, and Gladys Osei-Oredu joins us in the studio. Hello, Gladys.
Hi, Franca.
How are you doing?
I'm well, and you?
I feel taller than you today.
You did? Don't worry, I'll sort you out tomorrow.
What's up? Tell us what's up.
You know, there was a familiarization trip organized by Rwanda Air to go and experience their country, to also change the impression that Rwanda is always noted for genocide. And trust me, it's a beautiful place. And I've been trying their dance. It's fantastic. I'll teach you after.
Okay.
All right. So, culture of a people shows their true identity. But for the people of Rwanda, they seem to be well known for genocide than their rich culture. Well, so a familiarization trip put together by Rwanda Air, the official airline for Rwanda, to experience their country revealed to me the beautiful history of Rwandans. We are the Ibiwachu Culture Village. This village historically reenacts what happened. It's a historical village, what I mean to say, reenacting the history of the people of Rwanda. So we'll go in and get more insight about what exactly happens here. But it is the cultural center where history is lived right here.
In here, we are now Rwandan culture providers, and we have also different activities which are offered for these guests who are coming to visit our cultural village. Normally, we have, first of all, the King's Palace as the really house. We take in people and do explain them how Rwandan country were headed by, how the Rwandese were headed by His Excellency, the King of the country. Okay. We have also Medicine Man as someone who explained the tourists, the guests who are coming here, about how many years ago Rwandan people were treated themselves by using herbal medicines. They welcome you in the team. You can dance, you can join, wherever, whenever, whoever, they all can help you.
Okay, all right. So we can go trying out a few steps now, and afterwards I'm sure I'll be doing some bow and arrow. I'll shoot you. Interested, but I'm sure I'll be doing this till daybreak. Yeah, don't give up. Let's do it together.
Right?
So, yeah, that's this. Yeah, you go like that, then you. That is a more modernized version that you're doing here.
Oh, I see.
But the people at Ibiwachu Village, they are fantastic, very wonderful people.
You can tell.
Yes. But
welcome again. Senior lecturer at the Political Science Department of the University of Ghana, Dr. Ransford Jampo, has dismissed suggestions that poor remuneration of judges could partly be blamed for the corruption that has robbed the country's judiciary. Dr. Jampo maintains no amount of remuneration can influence people who are greedy.
In our part of the world, it seems to me that greed is our creed, and it is all about being greedy and all that. So I don't think if you pay people all the sums of money and you give them all the juicy conditions of service, and they still are greedy, I mean, we will still have records and reports of some of these things. And I believe that as a nation, we should all come together to support the efforts and the initiatives, some of these initiatives, that have been undertaken by ANAS, which evidence abounds to show that there are people who take low salaries, and yet they are not corrupt. Indeed, in the analysis expose, we are told that there were judges who threatened that, look, we can take bribe, and they threatened to sue and to sort of jail him. And so it's not all about remuneration. Indeed, I am a teacher, I'm a lecturer, and my salary compared to my other colleagues within the other sectors, I can describe it as being nothing to write home about. But I don't sell my grades.
Coming up next is international news. Carrying the relatives of a group of Mexican tourists killed in an attack by Egyptian army has landed in Cairo. 12 people were mistakenly killed by Egyptian security forces in an anti-terror operation on Sunday. Egypt says it mistook the tourists for Islamist militants whom its forces were pursuing in the western desert. It has apologized but has insisted the group were in a restricted area. Local sources, however, deny the claim. A manhunt for a university professor accused of killing a colleague in Mississippi has ended after the suspect killed himself as police closed in. Geography professor Shannon Lamb is suspected of shooting Ethan Schmidt, a history teacher at Delta State University in the town of Cleveland. Lamb had told the police on Monday that he was not going to jail. Police also linked Lamb, 45, to the fatal shooting of a woman 300 miles away earlier that day. That's it for international news. And that's it for Joy News today. You can log on to myjoyonline.com for more news. Thank you very much for your company. I'm Francisca Kakwa-Forsen. Bye-bye.